Dillon goes, where you from? She goes, England, but half Brazilian.
She's like, do it. Like, have a fight with him.
I'm gonna sue you if you don't fucking delete that.
You're a
Dillon Danis is back in the game. He's found another person to prey on, and I'm interested to see kind of where it goes. Dillon Danis is back.
I'm back.
He's crawled out of whatever hole he was living in after that Logan Paul fight, if you want to even call it a fight. He's now creating more drama with UFC fighter Ian Garry. Now, I was staying away from the whole drama side of things, but this was particularly interesting. But before we get into how Dillon Danis is embedding himself in this new drama, let's turn to none other than Sean Strickland.
Y'all will not believe what just happened. So I'm a homie, right? And I send Ian Garry a message. And I'm like, bro, hey, here's the thing, man. Dicks before chicks, dude. I know you're going through some shit right now. I know that fucking you got preyed upon. I know all this shit, bro, and I'm here for you. Just give me a call if you need me. And this motherfucker, he says, I'm gonna sue you if you don't fucking delete that. You're gonna sue me, motherfucker. He said that I was lying. Motherfucker, I ain't lying. You are 26. She is 40. She wrote a fucking book on how to be old and be with a young athlete. I ain't fucking lying, bro. This is factual. And Ian Garry, I don't give a fuck about being sued. You think I give a fuck about that? You want me to respect you. You say that I'm gonna go fucking to Bass Pro Shop, wherever the fuck you go. I'm gonna go buy a 9. I'm gonna handle this like a man. I would have respected that. I don't fucking respect that. But hey, I fucking expect nothing else from a man like you.
So that was Sean Strickland. Obviously, he has his perspective on the whole Ian Garry situation. Now, the point is, Ian Garry is a young up-and-coming fighter, incredibly talented as a fighter, and he's getting a lot of attention. He happens to be married to an English television presenter. Her name is Layla Machado. Now, what Sean is referencing in that video that you just saw is the fact that Ian is living with Layla and her ex-husband, Richard Cullen. They have a baby together. So for a lot of people, that would be considered cuck behavior. So Sean reached out to Ian responded. These are some of the messages. And if you choose to continue to spread it, knowing from the source it's not true, then you're partaking in harassment and defamation of character. Smart move will be to take it down. And then obviously Sean Strickland responds, I'm not a lawyer, I'm just a guy who's trying to help, but ooh, I don't know what that means. LOL. Sue me? Get in line, mother. There are a few in front of you. I would have respected you more if you threatened violence against me, but I guess it makes sense. He's using the C word. I think you can use your own imagination. And he responds, Sean, what you're doing is spreading hate, lies, and harassment. I'm helping you here, giving you a heads up. So he's taking the high road, Ian is, and he's playing it very cool, very close to the chest, which is really the only way you can go about it, because we know Sean's gonna take screenshots as he did there. He's gonna shoot videos, etc. Now it's true, Sean mentioned the book. He said, your girl wrote a book called WAG or something like that. I didn't even know what WAG was. I didn't even know what it meant. This is the book. How to be a wag. This is the description of the book. This is not for me or anybody else. This is actually what's written here. The hot new career option is to be a wag, and we're here to tell you how to become part of the most prestigious Wives and Girlfriends Club. So that's what WAG stands for, Wives and Girlfriends. Ever dream of walking into the footsteps of the likes of Victoria Beckham, Cheryl Cole, or Colleen Rooney? There's advice on dealing with the paparazzi, partying like a wag, because wags party differently than everyone else. Wags diet and much more. And let me tell you something, for 35 reviews, 2.1 is not a good rating. Ian Garry's nightmare. This book worked to land her a pro MMA fighter named Ian Garry. You know, usually when there's smoke, there's fire. So when you see a lady who writes a book about how to get a hold of younger athletes and how to seduce them and how to essentially use them and sort of tether yourself to their rise, and then you see a 40-year-old woman with a 26-year-old up-and-coming young stud of a fighter, there's correlation there. Now, from my perspective, I love a really wholesome woman personally. My girlfriend is a sweetheart, a kind person, a loyal person, and doesn't have that sort of a history. But to pass judgment on this individual, and we all got skeletons in our closets, a little bit strange, even if we don't agree with it. So you're probably saying, well, Steve, you agree with the idea of being a cuck and living with your girl's ex-man? Absolutely not. If we're talking subjectivity, you'd never catch Uncle Steve in a situation like that. It just wouldn't happen. I'd be allergic to it because who I am is different. And as I've said many times before, you don't get what you want in the world, you get who you are. So if you're the kind of person that can tolerate living in a house with your girl's ex-man, with the baby and all that stuff, then that's just who you are. But if I'm not who that person is and we don't see things eye to eye, that doesn't mean he's wrong, I'm right. It just means subjectively, I wouldn't be with that path. And Dillon chose the opportune time to pop back up into the public sphere. Of course, we'll draw some parallels now. So this is an Instagram message, obviously, from Layla Machado Garry in 2018. Prayer hands. Dillon goes, where you from? She goes, England, but half Brazilian. How are you today? He goes, very cool, doing great. Where do you live? He shoots right. He shoots his shot right away. He does. Now, here's the thing, guys. If you look at the date, this is 2018. So this is before she was with Ian Garry. That's number one. Number two is we don't know if these messages go up higher, so he could have been the one initiating the conversation. It seems like that's the case. Why else would she use prayer hands unless it was in response to something that he wrote? So Dillon does what he does. He posts something that's out of context from years before Ian was ever involved with her as a way of stoking some sort of fire. Now, let me give context of what's going on with Dillon right now. Dillon's done boxing because he disappointed the world with his performance against Logan Paul. He had this incredible opportunity. Even if he just would have fought like a man, he would have stand there and threw hands and actually tried to win the fight, and through volume, he would have gotten respect, but he didn't even do that. So he tries to get into the UFC. Dana White commented on the fact that he doesn't want none of that drama. He doesn't need that kind of drama to sell tickets, so that's not looking like it's gonna happen either for him. So now he's in this weird purgatory state where he really has nowhere to go.
I got nowhere else to go!
That's really what Dillon's experiencing right now. So he starts hashing shit out like this to try to create a little bit of buzz with Ian Garry. I'm sure he figures if I can get Ian Garry to bite on this, I can create another Logan Paul-like situation where I can get into the UFC and fight Ian Garry. But personally, I think it's tasteless, but I do see the parallels. Ian Garry is just another version of Logan Paul. They even look alike. Both of these men are in a relationship with women that have suspect backgrounds. So Dillon Danis obviously has his type. He has a specific personality type that happens to be looked at as a cuck, who also happens to be a rising star. He anchors his boat to their ship and he rides that tide. So it's a very simple system that Dillon's running. Ian Garry realizing she's the next Nina. God dang Gotti. Ian Garry right now. Now, if you guys haven't seen, I actually put a short up about it. You can check out the short. But Sean Strickland recently pulled out a gun on a guy that was in his driveway, etc., etc. I'm not going to be covering that because you can't monetize it, but very funny. Oh, wild times. No, they're drawing a parallel between Adam 22, who's a known cuckster, if you will. Proud cuckster, I would say, right? He's very proud of his situation. Terrence McKinney goes, just when we thought you was retired, you dug deep within and found another man's wife to harass. Weasel even jumps in there and goes, ain't no way. It just doesn't end with them two. Now, as you guys know, if you follow my community posts, my YouTube stories, my broadcast channel, or my newsletter, which is linked down below, and it's completely free, by the way, I don't really focus on other men. So when you want me to say, talk about Ian Machado and Garry and all this stuff and say bad things about him, listen, I don't give a what another man does in his life. I'm only covering this story because I think it's hysterical that Dillon Danis pops out of his grave of irrelevancy in order to attack another man and his wife, regardless of what they're doing in their home, whether I agree with it or not. I've already explained where I stand on that situation, but that's not enough for me to make a video on. But with that being said, I am going to give my opinion on something I think is a little strange. So I don't give a who you I don't care what you do in your household. That has nothing to do with Uncle Steve. And again, that's not the message I push. I'm talking about sovereignty. I'm talking about responsibility, good habits, discipline. I focus on self-development all day. That's all I care about. But this bothered me. I'll let Ian Garry do the talking for himself.
I'll tell you a funny story about Kamzat. We got in the elevator and me and my wife were standing there, pressed the button, doors open, Kamzat and his missus. I'd love to have a fight here. I'd love to just swing hands with Kamzat in the middle of an elevator. I'd love it.
Ooh. You're hard, showing off.
The stories are doing fucking cool, and my missus like that, looking at me like her eyes popped out of her fucking skull, and she's like, do it, like have a fight with him. And I'm like, like in my head, I'm like, my teammate's about to fight him tomorrow. I'm not fucking ruining that. Also, there's two fucking women in here. Me and him are gonna go to the death if we fight in an elevator. We step out with the lift, and my wife just looks at me and goes, you're a
So that was a video that I saw, and I even commented on it. Wife seems terrible, and I had to jump in on that. Try not to. Like I said, I am on the internet. I make a living on the internet, but I never want to be the kind of person who dogs a guy for how he lives his life with his wife. In his privacy, that's up to him. But he publicly stated that his lady was trying to get him to fight another man before a fight was to occur. That is not a good woman. If this story is true and he's not being hyperbolic, this is a terrible woman. This is someone you can run from. So now we have a lady who's written a book on WAGs. We have the situation at home living with the husband, and now we know her character is suspect because she's willing to put her man in jeopardy for some weird, egotistical, strange reason. My lady would never want me to fight in the street. It would have to be on some where the guy attacked me literally. She's a person that wants me to be protected. She doesn't want to see anyone get hurt. I mean, that's the kind of woman you want. As men, we're already irrational. We're fucking hot-blooded. We want to crush the world. We're dominators. You don't need a woman to push you in that direction. That can't end well. So that rubbed me the wrong way. The second thing that, I'm not gonna lie to you, as a man, it kind of weirds me out. Maybe you guys disagree with me, leave a comment below, but he took her last name. Just as tradition goes, my lady's taking my last name. And that's the bottom line, because Steven Strangles said so. I know a few of you progressive weirdos are gonna be in the comments going, well, really, it's not that big of a deal if you take your lady's last name. Go for it, you freaks. But as far as I'm concerned, I ain't taking my lady's last name, she's taking mine. Traditions are good. Why do we gotta rewrite the book? Now again, all of this is subjective to me. If I saw Ian, would I be like, yo, you live like a no, I'm not gonna. I think Sean Strickland goes a little bit too far. He's like putting stuff online, he's going into people's DMs. I don't give a but to each their own. I think it's hysterical that Dillon Danis is back in the game. He's found another person to prey on, and I'm interested to see kind of where it goes. I wouldn't mind seeing a fight between the two. I think Ian Garry absolutely dusts him though. We came across another tweet by Sean Strickland. He goes, I want to be clear, I didn't bring Ian's predator into this conversation. He's referring to Layla as a predator, by the way. He did. When you let her design that shirt of Jeff Neal's mugshot, you did. Be a man, shut her up and put her back in the kitchen. Act like a and get treated like a Here's an image of that actual shirt, as you can see on the screen here. I think a video would give you a little bit more context to what we're talking about here.
There are no rights on mugshots, are there?
It's your guys' idea. I just fall in love with it. Like, sweet. I mean, that's genius. That one.
Yeah,
I like this one.
Like this, no bigger. And I'd love to have a little bit of writing outside of the photo as well.
I think that looks funny as
You in?
Yeah.
How's it going, man? Good to see you guys again.
It's awesome. Oh my dear Jesus Christ, dude. It's so good. Wait, I disrupted him as he's gonna hate us. We were at the shoe store and Layla was looking at all the t-shirts and she's like, oh, there has to be something of him covered in blood or something. And then Harrison goes, why don't we do the mum shot? I'm like, alright, let's do it.
Great.
That is the finished product.
That's awesome.
For those unaware, Jeff Neal went through a DWI. He made a mistake, he made amends for his mistake, so for his wife to get involved with this drama and to do something as tasteless as this, and for Ian to go along with it, is really a bad look. As I stated before, check out my newsletter pinned below. Completely free, it's a way to get your discipline, your habits going well, and just to get your mind in the right place. We all need reminders and mentors to help us stay on path. I have mine, and I hope that my newsletter will be a great resource for you. Also, my community tab on YouTube is designed for that. Really short snippets every single morning, designed to just keep you on that path a little bit. Anyway, guys, like this video. Damn, that was the latest segue I've ever done in my entire life. I'm impressed at that. Strangle Gang, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next one.